Alright, so I got this Benchmade Claymore not too long ago. I'm enjoying the knife except for one fatal flaw. Now these are my opinions, so there's mixed reviews on the Sharpening Choil. I think a lot of people like them. I really do not like them. And the reason I don't is they get caught. Now I'm going to use this Benchmade Claymore as my first example because it has an overly large sharpening choil, a little bit easier to see. So here's the Shaman. I'd say this is one of my favorite pocket knives, folding knives. But you see they're hitting a choil there, right here. You don't have a sharpening choil. People get upset because that one tiny little half of a millimeter here, I guess, is kind of hard to sharpen compared to the rest of your edge. Now a lot of people, what they do is they'll end up taking a round file and making themselves a little choil here. And I don't really understand that. Everybody's got their own things and own opinions. I just want to get this out real quick. These are my opinions. This is what I like and dislike. It's my channel. I hope you all enjoy it. This might get some people a little bit pantyhose in a bunch, what I'm about to say. So I think, in my personal opinion, it's kind of stupid to sit there and make yourself a choil there, but hey, it's your knife, you can do what you want with it. Just let me try and explain this. So if I'm going to take a round file and file out this tiny little section and turn it into a sharpening choil, basically you're taking out the little bit of edge that you couldn't sharpen anyway. So what's the difference? And then you're going to have a blade that's going to get caught. I really love Spyderco. They're awesome. And I really appreciate that they don't put a sharpening choil down there. I do have knives that do have sharpening choils. Most of them are not as big as that Claymore, but you see there's a little sharpening choil here on this Recon one. Not as large as the Claymore's one, but it's still there. Still get caught. And we got good old AD Demko. Tiny little choil here. Then I'm going to get out. So here's another automatic. This is the Boker Collision Call. There is no choil there. And I really like that. It doesn't have one. So I use my knives. And it's alright if you just collect them and you don't really use them. That's cool. Everybody's got, it's your stuff. You can do what you want with it. I figure I buy them to use them, even if I spend a little bit of money on the knife. But I definitely use them. And if I'm out, here, let's just say, for example, let's get the Claymore back out. So you got this big old choil here. And in my initial field test, I was sitting there slicing through. Now I'm going to even use some thinner split grain leather here. I do a whole lot of leather work, so I got plenty of scrap to be messing with this stuff. But basically, like, I started slicing through, and this is a great slicey knife. I'm going to try and do this behind the camera. Maybe I should get in front. Hang tight. Yeah, we'll see. We'll try it like this first. So, this is one of my tests. I like to get in there. And you see how my blade's rising up? Bam! Look at that. It's caught. It's caught in the choil. And when I'm slicing through leather and things, like, you can start farther back, but my blade wants to rise up and get caught. And I'm just using some you know, this is probably like 5 ounce, 4 or 5, maybe 6 ounce leather. Nothing special. Super easy to cut through. Split grain, doesn't have the top grain on it. Now, you see how I was getting caught there. Alright, let's get this shaman out. Do it again. I haven't sharpened this in a while, but you see, it's still getting a little bit caught, but it's a lot easier just to pull it back a little bit. So I could, basically when I was cutting through that leather with this, it does get just hung up just a tiny bit right there, but I don't have to pull my blade back as much to reposition as I would with the Benchmade Claymore. Let me get that back. This guy once again. Look who it is. What's up, Stinky? What you got? You got something in your mouth, don't you? What is it? Let's see. Come here. What you got? Oh, man. You find a bone? Check you out. Good boy. Alright. Back to the Benchmade Claymore. So, I start slicing down through. It's kind of tough doing this behind the camera. I apologize. Got to be real careful. Which I can, you know, I can do a controlled cut. But if I'm in a hurry actually doing something, look, see, it's stuck in there. And then I gotta. This is such a deep choil that I gotta do a lot more. I gotta basically just about pull the blade all the way back out to finish the cut. Do it again real quick. Stuck in there. See that? I gotta pull it back out, finish the cut. Back to the shaman. So, see, that actually didn't even get cut. I'm down at the end. Let's try a little bit more heavy duty. Now this is some little more solid heavy duty leather. I'd say this is around 910, somewhere in there, 9-10 ounce. Let me try and get this going without cutting my finger. So it will get a little bit stuck, but if I'm down there, it's not really getting caught. See how I can just push through? Let's go back to the Benchmade Claymore. If I start down here like I did with the shaman, it's getting stuck. Look. It's stuck in there. It takes a whole lot to get it back out too to finish. Now obviously, I can be much more mindful and start up here, but just for, you know, I like to stay farther back towards the actual handle of the knife when I'm making cuts if I can. Out here, there's a whole lot of blade back behind my hand that if I slip, I could put a nice couple stitches in my knuckle or something, you know? If I'm sitting back here, it's just a lot more dangerous. And you don't want to get yourself cut, especially if you're way out in the woods. So I like to, you know, be choked up back here. Well, let me start. Woo! Pardon. So if I start pushing on through, bam, stuck. Start back. Now, of course, I can nice and controlled straight on through, but when I get, you know, if we're gonna, let me get down in here a little bit so I don't cut myself. So here we go. Now I can try and keep it controlled and push straight on through. See how I'm doing that? But there is a big chance of getting that choil cut, as you've seen. See, I'm stuck. Now, of course, like I said, I can start back here and just try and do a controlled. But eventually my blade's going to ride into that choil. And I can't get that out. I'm pulling good. So I got to get back out, finish the cut. So not everybody is cutting, you know, through heavy duty leather and stuff. Let's just say you're out camping and you got yourself a little piece of rope that you're wanting to, you know, cut a section off, maybe tie something up, do whatever. So you got a few pieces here. So I'm butted up to the finger choil there. So that's a choil also, but that's a finger choil. And I'm a big fan of the finger choil. That way you can choke way up and have more control on your blade. But you see how I just popped right through that? Let's do it with the claymore. So let's say I'm not camping and I'm in a hurry to be cutting some rope. I just pop in there. Shit, look, quickly just jammed up in there. Now of course this knife is nice and sharp, and you know, I don't have to slide it all the way back to cut through. Let's see. But it's nice without that little choil there, just to be able to slide your blade back, bam. See, I can just basically bring this in, rest it at the end, bam. Some of you, this might not really matter, you know, but see, if I slide back, I'm getting caught. Might not be a big deal to a lot of you, and that's alright, because that's your opinion. We're going to do it with one more little test. Now, here's some weed eater line here, and this is some pretty heavy duty weed eater line. Pretty thick. So with weed eater line, I like to start pretty far back on the blade and draw out. It's heavy duty stuff, and my knife isn't always going to be razor sharp. You know, I use my knives for a while before I resharpen them. This one's held a great edge, but you gotta, basically like the way I cut weed eater line. Let's say you're out there doing the yard. I start back far and you draw away. That's how I do it. But with having that choil there, you can easily just pop down in that choil and it's stuck, it's jammed. So I have to mindfully, which it may not be a big deal, and I still really love this knife, but you got to start up just a tiny bit ahead of it. See, I was getting ready to do it. Got jammed up. Shaman. You can start down there at the nub. Little finger choil. Bam. Just, I'll let, you put your finger right there. Pop. Pop through. Yeah, much love the Recon 1. It does have a choil. Also has a sharpening choil. It's just a little bit smaller one. So I love the Recon 1, but I also have to be very mindful. I can get caught in that choil. Be a real pain in the ass. Also, it could get kind of dangerous if you're hurrying, which you should never hurry when you're cutting, but you get caught up in that, try and yank, end up cutting your finger or something. Now, having a choil obviously isn't a deal breaker for me, because there's a whole lot of knives out there I like that do have a choil. I'm just letting y'all know why I prefer not to have a choil on my knives. That's one of the reasons among many that I really love Spyderco knives. Just no choil there. You can just run up, but my rope, whatever I'm doing. I mean, even if, like, I didn't bring any cardboard out here this morning, but some geese. I didn't bring any cardboard out here this morning, but if you're running down through some cardboard, breaking it down, how many times have you gotten your blade jammed up in that choil, have to pull it back out and finish your cut? I'm really liking this knife, but that's the one thing about this knife that I'm just not really digging, is that choil. A lot, definitely a good amount of my knives have it. Let's check this out. So it's not like you're getting jammed up. That's a bigger blade, so it's a bad comparison. Tell me what your thoughts are down there in the comments. You a fan of the choil, or are you not really digging the choil? What do y'all think about it? Is it really worth having a choil to be able to have that little bit of edge that would be right here, nice and sharp? And it might get just the tiniest little bit dull right here towards the heel of the knife, but does that really matter too much to you? It doesn't really matter too much to me. What do y'all think? Tell me in the comments. Just don't be a dick. I'll catch y'all on the next one. See ya.